Hello and welcome to Who Are You, the Bobcats You Know, the Stories You Don't. I'm your host, Joel Vanner, inside the podcast studio at Quinnipiac University School of Communications, and I'm joined today by my guest, Anouar Benbrahim. Anouar, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
It's good to have you on the show. So I ask my guests the same first question every time, and that is, tell me, who are you?
Well, to start things off, I am a mechanical engineering student at Quinnipiac. I'm from Hamden, Connecticut.
Not too far away.
Not too far, literally like 10 minutes away, so it's convenient too. I'm part of a triplet. Okay. So it's me, my brother Eunice Benbrahim, and my sister Safia.
Who are all Bobcats.
All Bobcats, got accepted here. And I also have an older sister, Anissa, which she's a graduate student at the moment.
All right, strong Quinnipiac family. We'd love to hear that. So Anouar, mechanical engineering is what you're studying here at Quinnipiac. Something separate from what your siblings are studying, right? They're all in the healthcare fields.
Yep, that's true.
Where did you find your passion and interest in mechanical engineering? Was it technology that kind of introduced you to the field? What was it for you?
So for me, I never was like really interested in what is like the medicine and all that. So, and ever since I was a kid, I had always this interest in like technology and like, for example, I don't know, I was like 7 to 10 years old when I went to my neighbor's apartment and I helped her with her technology. And I feel like dealing with like technology and things like this, it's been throughout my entire life.
Sure.
And even in the construction side, like when I was like, 12 or something, I used to make like just giant pyramids of cards. So it's been present a lot. And I basically just decided that it was a good choice. Yeah.
So your mom was maybe socializing to the neighbor, hey, my son's really good at technology. He can help you fix anything on your computer. And that's kind of where you discovered that love for technology and building things. How did you decide on mechanical engineering? Was it something that you knew of before coming to Quinnipiac, or when you were in high school? Like, how were you like analyzing colleges to find out if it was the right fit for you?
Yeah, so I was really interested to start. I was very interested like computing at first. Like I self-taught myself how to code and all that. So I was really interested in like the computer side of things. And I thought, okay, let me try software engineering. Software engineering, I looked it up, I researched, and it was really interesting for what it looked like. But then I asked for my mom for some counseling because you always want to do that.
Sure.
And she was like, this is great, but you don't want to spend like the entire day on like stuck to a computer screen. You want to do something that moves you and like makes you be more creative in that sense. So I began searching more, and I found that mechanical engineering was just like the perfect choice for me.
And Quinnipiac, we mentioned family ties to the university, but what specifically about the School of Computing and Engineering here drew you to it? Did you come for an open house? Did you tour the facilities? What was that moment that you were like, this is where I want to be?
So that mainly happened in orientation, because I already applied as a mechanical engineering student because I already had it decided. But orientation, and when we went to like the makerspace to make like simple like heat pressed mugs and all that, I really liked to do things. I really like to build things, and that's where I fell in love.
So the makerspace is in the bottom floor of the School of Computing and Engineering.
Yes.
What kinds of equipment are in there? You said heat pressed mug. I know there's like 3 or 4 other pieces of equipment in there that are open to anyone who gets trained on it to use inside and outside of their classes too.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of really good. I think they actually brought new ones, new 3D printers. There's heat presses. There's what else? There's laser engravers. All those types of things that you could use for like a project or something. You cannot go by there by yourself for safety reasons. So a super user always has to be there for you to use the machines. But if a super user is there, and you can just like go crazy and just design what you want to do and build your project. It's really interesting, too.
Yeah, sounds like an awesome hands-on space. And Professor Lynn Byers oversees the makerspace here at Quinnipiac. She's the one that guides it all. Mm-hmm. I know you have a connection with Lynn Byers from your Mechanical Engineering 110 class.
Yes.
Tell us about Professor Byers and what you like most about her in that introductory class.
So for me, like when you're like a freshman in college and you go to like your first class, it's always like this like scary feeling.
Am I doing the right thing?
Yeah, am I doing the right
in the right
thing?
place?
Yeah.
Did I read the right stuff? Yeah.
Like even from like to go to the actual classroom, like you don't know where you're going, but you get to that class and you pray that it's the correct one. But when I got to that class, Professor Byers, she has this like very bright energy, and to see that and to like be able to like work in that class with her, it made me fell in love more with mechanical engineering, because she gave off this energy that was like, she motivates you, she pushes you to work forward, and she just she makes that a class that might be hard for like a freshman make it really, really fun and easy.
What was the class that you had her for?
It was introduction. It was like introduction to like SolidWorks or something.
So what is MER 110, and what are some examples of things you learned in that class?
So MER 110 is like the introductory course to when, obviously for incoming freshmen or to someone who switches their major and wants to get started in engineering. We start off by like explaining like the principles of engineering, what it's like to like build something, create things, and problem solving especially. And then we start to get on the programs we're going to use, like SolidWorks, which is like a computer-aided design program that basically helps you like create stuff and like build things that you later going to print in the makerspace.
Sure.
If you were going to do like a project or something.
Right.
And yeah, that's basically pretty much it. And Professor Byers, who was teaching the course, she helped us a lot to get started, because when you're facing a program that's completely something you've never seen before, she guides you, she makes you do the tutorials, and she pushes you to be like the best at it in that class.
It can be a little overwhelming, I'm sure, especially knowing you have to master it right in the class. Mm-hmm. The pitch competition, you probably used the skills from MER 110 in the pitch competition that Professor Byers inspired you to participate in. Tell us about what the pitch competition is, and then what idea you pitched in the competition.
So it all started because I'm part of the honors program. So you're required obviously to take like honor specific credits. And when I joined MER 110, they moved me to that credit alongside two other of my students or classmates. And Professor Byers said, okay, if you're in the honors program, you have to join the pitch competition to complete that honors credit. And I have no idea what that was. Like, I have no clue what it was. And I was just clueless with two of my classmates, like, what are we going to do? But Professor Byers, obviously, she helped us, she guided us. She said, okay, so the final project that you're going to do on MER 110, that's going to be the project that you're going to go pitch. So me and two other classmates, we came up with the task. I mean, the assignment for that final project was to like go to an employer, to those on like the Tater Hall, because sometimes in Tater Hall they have like this tabling.
Yeah, they have vendors that are selling different things. Yeah.
So the mission was to go talk to a vendor and be like, hey, how can I make your business better?
Find out what they need.
Yeah. So they give you, okay, let's say they give you a problem. And I talked to this lady, and she said, okay, yeah, it would be nice to have like a stand where I can put like my perfumes and my makeup products and all that.
Okay.
So that was the idea that we foresaw, and we just began building that. It was like a stand. We didn't have time to print it, obviously, because we also didn't know that we could use the makerspace for that.
But you built it in SolidWorks, thought through it all.
Yeah, we built the design in SolidWorks, obviously to turn it in later. But it was like a stand with like 3 levels, and each level had like tiny cavities where you put like the makeup and stuff.
Yeah.
And then after that, once we were done, it was time to actually figure out the pitch. What were we going to do?
It's probably a little nerve-wracking.
It was a nerve-wracking.
Emulate some of Professor Byers' traits in the classroom, right? When you're giving your pitch with the inspiration and energy. So you have this idea, and how did you become acquainted with what the pitch process involved?
So Professor Tomczyk, he was the one who ran the program. So we went to informational sessions about it. And then he was like, yeah, you should join. You should come to my office so you can try to practice pitch with me after you write your script, and I can help you, guide you. So we wrote our script, and I went to his office, and I basically tried to pitch them to him. And then the first thing he said was like, the pitch competition is not a presentation, so you're not trying to memorize your script. Your script is just a guide for you, because for a pitch competition, you want to tell the audience and the judges that you really know what you're talking about. So if you memorize everything, you're just going to be like monotonously like talking.
Very robotic.
Yeah.
Not going to know, right.
So the idea of the pitch competition is that it has to be like a conversation between you, the audience, and maybe the judges. So that was the main thing that helped me and like guided me, and I appreciate him for like telling me this. And then I just try to practice it, not obviously reading off and memorizing, but actually like talking it. And then the day of the pitch competition came.
How'd it go?
We obviously didn't win, but
Okay.
we got an award for participation. But more than winning the money and all that, I feel like it was a great experience for me to like actually do things like this, because in my future career, I'm going to be designing a project. I have to maybe show my boss, and I have to like try to pitch it.
Right. You have to get buy-in from all your stakeholders. And to have that experience in MER 110 in your first year, in the mechanical engineering program, your first year here at Quinnipiac, is awesome applied experience to what you're learning in the classroom. What are some of the other engineering courses you've taken? Like, are they as hands-on, using the makerspace, creating different things, learning different programs? What's another course that you like a lot?
So I'm recently taking a new added course. It's MER 399, which is making of mechanisms. And my advisor, Professor Riofrio, he is the one who teaches the course. And when I talked to him in the advisory meeting, and he told me I should join this class, because this class is like a class that it's gonna like push you to when you have to do your senior capstone or your senior projects, and it really helps you know like, okay, how am I gonna design this, and how am I gonna build it in SolidWorks so then I can print it. And this class is indeed hands-on, because we learned like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, we even made like a fidget spinner.
Nice.
So that was pretty cool. And yeah, we've been going to the makerspace. He's been showing us how to use the 3D printers and how to like, even from like the beginning, like you have a problem and how can you solve that problem in the most efficient way? Like even in just like SolidWorks, which I mentioned, it was the computer-aided design program. How can you make it so it's efficient and it works?
Right.
Like using the least amount of material, for example.
And you mentioned this class was with your advisor, Professor Riofrio. How has your advisor helped you map out your program here at Quinnipiac so that you could take new courses like MER 399?
So on my orientation, he introduced himself. He said he was going to be my advisor, and he gave me a flowchart based on my placement test for math and English. He gave me a flowchart, and it's like all my 4 years, all semesters just planned out.
All mapped out.
Yeah, all mapped out.
This piece of paper.
I know.
Here you go.
And it was like really great to have that. And to take that MER 399 course, I had a spot for an elective. So he said, yeah, maybe you can take this elective here and it'll be convenient and better for you. But no, he's been amazing. He's been guiding me a lot, and I really appreciate his help throughout.
And to have that guidance ensures to you that you have the requirements met, but also shows you where you can have freedom to take other courses and other things you may be interested in.
Yeah, he even puts in the blank spots where I can like put like any other course I want, like a UC course, or which is a university curriculum requirement course and all that. So yeah, to have that, even like I have a PowerPoint of it. So to have that is like really, really good and helps me like guide myself better.
And takes the stress out of signing up for classes.
Definitely.
One thing, you didn't bring your hard hat today, but the hard hat ceremony is a big part of the School of Computing and Engineering. I have a hard hat here. Tell us about the tradition and what it was like to receive your hard hat and what it means.
Yeah, so the hard hat ceremony obviously is a thing been going on throughout the years, and it's like a ceremony, and they award students who have completed like certain credits and all that their own hard hat. So obviously this goes by requirements. Like for me, for example, I had to take engineering materials, but every engineer who goes to mechanical engineering or even civil engineering takes that materials course. And then for that you get the hard hat, and then you can get stickers for excellence and all that. It was finally my time. I was waiting since like I knew there was going to be a sophomore year that I was going to get my hard hat. And it was actually a really, really special time. Like I really felt really good about being there. Yeah.
And it's a really great community ceremony. And on the hard hat are stickers, like you said. It's customized to you and the experiences you've had at Quinnipiac.
Yeah, it basically, like you can say, okay, it's a hard hat. I can use it for my project. I can use it for all of that. But for me, it's a symbol.
Sure.
Like it shows your journey as a mechanical engineering major, with the stickers, the classes you've taken, if you have academic excellence or any extracurricular, all that.
So it really tells your story.
Yeah,
your
it really
academic
tells my story, yeah.
How have all of these experiences, looking back from a family of siblings who went in healthcare, helping out your neighbor with technology, coming to Quinnipiac Mechanical Engineering, learning the makerspace, all of the applied experiences you've had, how have all of these helped you grow and cement and just better understand that this is where you want to be in life and this is what you want to do after you graduate college?
So for me, always when I'm trying to pick like a career of choice or something, my mom always taught me that you want to pick something that you like and you enjoy instead of just the digits that you're going to earn, because there's no point of going through like a high paying job but you basically hate it. So I feel like mechanical engineering since the beginning has been just incredible. I've enjoyed it. Classes, obviously, they can get a bit like difficult and like kind of tricky, but as long as I just keep going and I just don't give up, it's really, really rewarding, because I felt like throughout the years, ever since, again, I was like a kid and I helped with technology, I always felt like this is the place I want to be.
And rely on your community in the school, in your community in student groups. We have over 170 plus student-run clubs and organizations on campus. You can find your people that help you through those hard times.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who's looking to study engineering? You said in the beginning you did a lot of research, the different types of engineering, what you were looking for. What advice would you give to them if they're trying to find where they fit in?
So first of all is obviously research, look through the different engineering programs, take your time, don't just skim through them, and really pick something that you enjoy and that you think that it's interesting for you. Obviously you can switch later, but the idea is that your first choice has to be something that you're like, I really like this, maybe let's try it. And then obviously do not give up if one course is gonna be hard. I really feel like if you just keep pushing and like keep on the good work, I feel like it's going to be really, really rewarding. You're going to be looking back. You're going to be like, wow, I'm glad I picked this.
And hop on LinkedIn, reach out to alumni that have graduated too. There's a very strong network and they're a very great resource. And connect with Anouar too. And maybe they'll talk to you about your experience that you've had.
For sure. I'll be happy to.
Anouar, it's great having you on the show. Thanks for joining me and sharing your experience here at Quinnipiac.
Thank you for having me.
If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and share, and find other episodes on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Until next time, when I ask my next guest, who are you? I'm Joel Vanner. Bye for now.